Obviously known Coach Belichick for quite some time. He was at the coaches' clinic yesterday. Can you just talk about that experience a little bit?
Yeah, it was really special, I think, for our coaches, meaning my staff, but then for all the New Jersey coaches and the New York coaches that were here and the Pennsylvania coaches to hear what, I believe is the best coach in the history of the game, to talk football, and that's the one thing that all this technology robs the younger coaches of is the clinic setting. When I was coming up and coaching, clinics were everything. You'd go and you'd spend time with coaches and you'd listen to them. But then the best part was afterward, you were talking with all the other coaches and discussing what was presented and then how you do it and how you might change after hearing that. And it's just an exchange of information. The one thing when you do a clinic online, it's great, it's easy, but you don't get that feedback and that conversation and that camaraderie that I remember fondly as a coach. So I can't thank Coach Belichick enough and Brian Belichick as well for agreeing to do it. They're in a busy time getting ready for the draft and they're starting their off-season program. But just a great friend of and really, really grateful for it.
Just your initial impressions of the scrimmage and what you saw out there?
It was long. They stayed focused the whole time. We took care of the football. A lot of mistakes, a lot of things we got to clean up. As I've said to them over and over, we just got, there's plenty of mistakes out there. We just got to stop making the same ones twice. And the issue is if you make it and you make it, that counts as making it twice because we covered that. And that's what we need to speed that up. Really decrease the time that we make the same mistake twice. But there were some really good things. We did a lot of things in the kicking game, which I was glad to get done and get on tape so we can teach from it. So I think overall it was really productive, really productive.
What did you see from the quarterbacks?
I thought Gavin and Evan both managed the offense well. We left some plays out there for sure, but we took care of the football. And when we do that, we win. So now the key is to learn from those opportunities that maybe were missed and still take care of the football. Right? And that's the hope. But I'm pleased we're making progress. It's never fast enough. Right? Time is our number one enemy. But I really believe that if you just keep going in the right direction, we're going to get there.
Scrimmage is a little bit different environment than a regular practice. Was there any player or position group that surprised you in a positive sense of how they performed today in the scrimmage versus how they performed in practice?
Well, Brian, you're right. They are different, and I try to explain that to the players. We don't come in the stadium a lot on purpose. I want it to be special when they're down here. So we're up we have a great practice facility, and we use the heck out of that, as you guys know. When we come down here, I want it to be special. I want to have a different feel, a game feel. And I talked about that this morning. All your training really is for 12 games. Then if you do it well enough, you get a 13th. You do it really well, you get a 14th and a 15th. So we train up on those practice fields. When we come in here, I just want them to get themselves focused and let it rip. Don't worry about mistakes, just go. So hopefully, when we watch the tape, we're going to see guys that maybe a week ago were kind of holding back and let it go. I saw a couple young guys just do what I asked them to do. Don't worry about it, just go. We'll correct it. If you play hard, we'll get it corrected. So that part I was pleased with.
What was your impressions of the kicking game and punting game today?
It was overall, I thought, favorable. The specialist in particular, right? Flynn has done a nice job. He continues to do a nice job. Jude had a couple today that got away from him, but down the end in the competition, he really kicked well. Jay has been kicking well all camp. So I like it. We have competition at the place kicker, and I think in the punting game, we got a big name to replace there, but I think he's doing a great job of trying.
You talked last year about the offensive line. The team would only go as far as the line. Any encouragement now this first scrimmage, and what have you seen from that group?
Yeah, we're getting better. Yeah, it's small steps, but we're definitely getting better. Coach Flaherty, Coach Vallone, Coach Officer, they're all doing a great job. Just it's a cumulative build, and we just have to keep building it. But some guys are stepping up that, we haven't heard a lot from, and they're doing things that catch your eye. And that's once that happens, then that happens more and more, and that's what I'm hoping for these next 2 weeks.
Greg, they did a lot of work in the offseason. Are you starting to see the bigger, stronger, faster type of team that you're looking for?
Well, you are, and it's what's it mean? It means that a guy like Tyreen Powell played the season at between 220 and 225, and now he's practicing at 235, right? So that's an extra 10 pounds, 8 pounds of muscle that when he hits somebody, they feel it. And a guy like Mayan Ahanatu, he's worked hard, got his body in great shape, and it's a good 295 now. So those are critical improvements. And when you get stronger and you put that weight on and your body fat stays the same or even goes down, that means you have more lean muscle mass. That should help you in the trenches. So all that stuff, that's why, as a developmental program, every off-season is critical. And when a guy misses an off-season due to injury or surgery, it really sets him behind. That happened to Dion. If you think back, that shoulder surgery totally put him behind. It took a whole year before he was able to get those gains, and then you saw the season he had last year. And he's just now picked up and he's moving forward from where he was. So in a developmental program, every off-season is critical, and that's what we are. We're a developmental program.
Greg, the NCAA just passed a recent rule on official visits are unlimited now for prospects. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, they are unlimited, but they didn't change the number of visits that we can give. So I don't know how much of an impact it's really going to have. Now, if they made it unlimited on both sides, I think it could have been something that might not be great. But, most kids figure it out. And be real, most guys don't take 5. Those are exhausting. You leave and you're gone for 3 days from your home. Well, do that 5 times. You're talking about 15 days away from home. I think guys do a lot of investigating now. Recruiting has moved up so much. We had prospects all over the field and in the stands that are freshmen and sophomores. So, yeah, I don't think it's going to be a real big deal.
You brought back a lot of former players on your staff. Darius Hamilton now, what went into that?
Yeah, Darius has been coaching in high school, and he let it be known that he had an interest to get back. And I said, well, Darius was a star player. He was a 3-time captain. I said, the way we do it is we start on the bottom and work our way up. He said, absolutely, that's what I want to do. I wouldn't want to do it any other way. I love that attitude, right? And he's been awesome. Just busting his hump, and there's no doubt he'll be a good football coach. So I'm glad he's back and he's here. And, he and I laughed at when we first hired him. I said, I recruited you and I didn't get to coach you. I said, so now we'll get to work together. So that'll be fun.